Hello class. Today I'm going to take you through a coffee maker. We're going to start off by looking at what our end product is going to look like. In this case, we're going to make a rendition of a realistic Braun coffee maker. Alright, it may look complex to you guys, it may look like it's going to take a lot of time, but really it's all about revolutions. Okay, so I'm going to show you how we're going to start with this today. It's not rocket science, it's really just focusing on what we worked on last week, which is revolutions. Alright, so we're going to close that. This is just a quick example of what we're going to end up with. This is what our coffee maker is going to look like. And this is actually a real product that was designed by Dieter Rams. So we are going to take you step by step on how to get to this point. Alright, so first thing, let's start off by creating a new project by clicking on the plus sign up here. That'll give you a new project to start with. Alright, and the first thing we need to do this time, before we start sketching, before we make any revolutions, we need to actually get the file of the image of the coffee maker. Alright, so we're going to start off by opening our web browser. We're going to look at Google, and we're going to search on Google for images. Right, you're going to type in Braun coffee maker, just like that. You'll see it pop up, Braun coffee maker. Once you search for images, you're going to find the first image that looks like this. It's an orange coffee maker. Alright, you're going to download this image by clicking on the image and saying save image as. Alright, what that's going to do, it's going to put the Braun coffee maker image into your downloads folder as a JPEG. So all you do is just hit save, and it's going to be inside your downloads folder, and then you can close that completely. Alright, now what we can do is we can come into insert inside where there's a little picture right here. You can even just click on the picture, it makes it easier, and if you hover over the image, it'll explain to you what it is that it's gonna do. So in this case, it's gonna place an image that we can trace over. Alright, so this process is really common. There's actually been people that have made, there's been people that have made copies of iPhone designs before they even hit the market. So this is some process that people use to reverse engineer all the time. Alright, so the first thing it's going to do is going to pop up here. It's going to ask you for a face. You're going to select the one on the right just because it's simpler, and then you're going to click on select image right here. Alright, once you click on select image, you go to your downloads folder wherever it is. This may look different to you guys because it's in Windows, so just find out where your downloads folder is and open that file that you downloaded. Alright, so you're just going to hit open. Once you do that, it should pop up on here just like that. Alright, and what you want to do next is just like Tinkercad. You can move this image around, you can move it up and down, but the first thing you do before you start messing with it is you actually want to scale it up to be 10 by 10 on the x-axis and the y-axis. That just makes it easier for you to work, so you're not like squinting at your screen trying to get all the details in there. So by making it bigger, you make it easier for yourself. Okay, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to hit the front view up here where it says front. You're going to hit the front view so you're looking straight at it. Alright, and you want to line it up so that this red line down here is sitting right underneath the coffee maker. Alright, so you want to grab this handle, you want to move it up so it's sitting right at the bottom of that red line. Alright, it's about 70 millimeters from the ground. You could also type in 70 millimeters on the y-axis. And once you're all said and done, you need to come up here where it says canvas opacity, and you want to bring this down a little bit to about 66%. This is good enough. What this allows you to do is actually see through the picture on what you're working on, so you're not actually hiding whatever it is you're working on. Alright, so after you do that, after you've moved your image up, now what we can do is just start tracing. Alright, so we're going to make our first revolution. So we're going to start out by clicking on the sketch where it says create sketch right up here, and you're going to click on that plane. Alright, after you click on that plane, you're going to start sketching. Alright, step number one is going to be to go up here to where it says sketch, and you want to do the line tool. Alright, this time we're just going to keep it simple, and we're going to start with the line tool. Alright, the first thing you want to do is create an axis right along the middle so that we can just revolve everything and not make a new axis every time. So you're just going to click up here, right along the green line. You're going to click down there, and then you're going to say stop sketch. All right. So now we have an axis that everything can revolve around. All right. The next step is to actually start sketching over the image. All right. So we're going to select that plane to sketch on. All right. And we're going to start off right there, right at the top. We're going to move in there, and we're going to come over towards to the side right here. All right. And then we're going to come down to this corner. All right. And then we're going to come over to it's about to the width of it right here on the side, about to there. And then you're just going to trace all the way down, only the orange part. We're going to work it one piece at a time. We're going to make it easy for ourselves. So we're going to click on that edge of the orange, and we're going to close off right there. And then the last thing we need to do is, if you notice it didn't change colors like it usually does, that's because you need to connect this dot to that dot of the line tool. And then with that, you should have a closed contour. And let's just double check that we have a closed contour. The next thing you want to do is you want to stay in the front view, and you want to add these little corners right here. All right. To do that, the simplest tool is actually under the sketch bar. There's something called fillet, or they call it fillets, but some people pronounce it fillet. All right. It's kind of like fish fillet. You click on that, and then you have like a little corner radius, and then you click on where you want your radius to be, and then you can pull up and down on this arrow to adjust the corner radius. You can put another one there. Let's make this one a little bit smaller, maybe about there, and then click on this one, and this is going to be a big one right here. But if you notice that I clicked on each one, and now this one is controlling the other ones. So what we actually want to do is hit escape, and you want to hit enter after every fillet. Otherwise, it's going to control your previous fillet. Okay. So now, as you can see, you pull that one down. You can get it close. It doesn't have to be perfect. There's a slight error in your tracing, anyways. And then this one, we want to make it a smaller fillet. But if you notice, I just did it again. I clicked it twice in a row, and you see the bottom one is controlling the top one. So let's undo that. All right, and let's click fillet separately, so we have a separate fillet each time. All right. This time we're going to just do a little one here, nice little small one, and then once we're all said and done, we can just go ahead and go straight into the revolution, the start of revolution. All right. So we're going to go revolve. Once you hit revolve, it's going to ask you for the same thing again. All right. It's going to ask you first for a profile. That's what we drew. All right. In this case, we drew that profile, and for the axes this time, we can select the same axis, which is the thing we drew in the beginning, and that just pretty much makes everything spin around that one point. All right, and after you do that, you'll see that you have your first part. One last thing to notice is to make sure that everything's at 360. Almost all our revolutions are going to be at 360. You want to make sure they're all one-sided directions. We won't make any modifications to that. And your operation should almost in the beginning always be new body. If you leave it at join or cut, it's going to do something different, so just make sure you click on new body. All right, and after you hit OK, what you can see is that we just made the top part of our coffee maker, and we're halfway there. All right, the majority of it is already done. All right, so it's not that complicated, and it's actually done in quite amount of short steps. Okay, so now that we have this part, what I would like you to do is to go into this folder that's called bodies over here. Open that up, and let's name things as we go. All right, so if you right click this, you can go to where it says let's try it again. If you right click it, you can go to where it says rename. I think it had a rename, maybe it doesn't. Alright, it might be different on your computer, but if it doesn't show up, you can always just click on the words and just leave your mouse right over it. You might just have to click and hold the click, or maybe twice, and then you'll see the highlighted words. And we can call this coffee top. Alright, that's going to be the top. And then so what we can do here as well is we can right click, and we can go into appearance. Alright, when you click on appearance, it's kind of like the rendering exercise that we did. It might not open, it might just be a tab over here, so you may have to hit the plus sign, and you can scroll down and you can look for the material. In this case, it's kind of like a plastic, a glossy plastic. So let's go to paint and let's go to glossy. Alright, let's open that up and let's look for something close. Alright, we don't have that exact orange, but there's a yellow that's pretty close. You can just click on it, hold it, and then drag it over and drop it straight onto there. So now we have that top piece colored and ready to go. Alright, so now that we finished that part, now we can work on the bottom part. So let's make one revolution for the base of this coffee machine. Alright, start with create a sketch. Just click on that plane that we're going to work off of, and let's start by just making a square. By using the square tool, you don't have to use the line tool. You can use either or, they both work. But I'm going to show you how to use the rectangle tool. So you're gonna click on this part of it, maybe like about here where the orange starts. Right there's going to snap a little bit. You can just click and then you can just drag over till it's about there. And it's not going to line up perfectly because there's some distortion in the image, but don't worry about that. That has nothing to do with it. Just as long as you get it close is what is important. And then the next step is you add the radius right here, the little corner radius for the base. And then once you're set with that, you could even hit enter, and then you can do another corner radius down here. Let's do a small one. We want to usually make every corner have a little radius, because in the real world, things that are sharp people don't like to touch. So usually this would have a radius on it. Alright, so now let's start. Now that we have that, let's do another revolution by going up here to create and going to revolution. Alright, it's going to ask us for a couple of things again. It's going to ask us for our profile. Right, we're going to click on our drawing, and then for the axis we want it to be right in the middle, so we're going to select that line right there. And then what we end up with is part of the base plate. So now we have the top and we have the bottom. Alright, so you hit OK. Now the next step is to change the name under the body folders. Remember, it may be hidden. You may have to open it. So go inside here and change the name of it. We'll call it Coffee Base. Alright, and once you do that, it changes to that. And let's change the color of it. So let's go back into Appearance. And if you notice, now we don't have to look for it down here because it's already saved up here for us. So we can just literally drag that over and drop it in. Okay. So once you do that, you can close the Appearance. You can close the Appearance tab, and then you can move on to the next step, which is doing the top of this handle part right here. Alright, so for the next step, we're going to do another sketch. Same thing, we're going to click on this plane, it's on the image, and then we're going to start by doing a bunch of lines. Alright, so we're going to start out with our axis of revolution. So we're just going to draw a line from there to there. Actually, let's just keep it simple. Let's just keep it from the exact point to where it goes to where this touches there. Alright, now that we have that line, we're going to move a line over from there to there. We're going to stop this a little bit short, probably right at that radius. Alright, now the next thing we need to do is we need to give it a curve that goes like this, right? So what tool did we use to make curves for the Coca-Cola bottle? It was the spline tool, right? So we go in here, we hit the spline tool, and then now we can just make 2 points. 2 points from there to there, and you just say OK. Now with those 2 points, what we can do now after you hit enter is you can start turning this a little bit so that it has that angle right there. Looks nice and angled, just like that. Just like that. So it has a nice little curve. Alright, and then you're going to go back to the line tool and you're just going to close your sketch. See, it changes colors, you know it's closed. And let's add a little fillet right up on this corner up here. Alright, but let's make it small. Let's not make it too dramatic. And then let's add another fillet down here on this corner. Let's make it small. Alright, it looks like it's giving us problems. If you can see here, it's not really connecting, and that's okay. That means that it just doesn't like it. So let's make it a little bit smaller and let's try it again. Let's see if this will work. And sometimes it's going to give you a problem like that. You just have to work around it, move things around a little bit. But there you go. Now we have a fillet up there and a fillet down here, and we have a closed contour. So now we can go to stop sketch, and whoa, did you notice that? Something just moved, right? So let's go back. Let's do Control Z. Let's find out what happened. Why did things move on this? Alright. Just do Control C. It looks like this fillet down here, it just doesn't really like. So let's move forward without the fillet. Alright, let's move forward without the fillet. So let's go up here where it says Create. And if you click on things and you're in the wrong place, just hit Cancel or hit Escape, and it'll bring you back to the thing, back to the main screen. So you want to go up here where it says Create, and then you want to start a revolution again by going in there. Go to Revolution. Select your profile. Again, same thing. What did we just draw? And your axis is going to be the center where you want it to rotate around. Alright, this time we went like that. And if you notice the color is already orange, we don't want it to be orange, we want it to be black. So what you notice down here under Operation is that changed to Join. And we don't want it to be joined, we want it to be a separate part. So you click on that scroll down menu and you go down to where it says New Body Part. New Body. That's what you want to have selected. Alright, and then when you hit New Body, it changes back to the normal color, and then you say OK. Alright, so now you're more than halfway there. Let's do the same thing. Go back into the Bodies folder. Let's give it a name. Let's call this the funnel. Alright, because it looks like a funnel. We'll right click it, go into Appearance, and this time we're going to give it like a glossy black color. Alright, so we'll open this up and then we'll give it Paint Enamel Gloss Black. Alright, we'll drop that in, and then now that's a glossy black color. You see, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. We won't worry about this handle yet. That's kind of one of the last steps. We'll do the details at the very end. We just want to get kind of an overall shape done so that we can feel like we're making progress on this model, and then we'll go back and do the details at the very end. Alright, so we just finished this cone part. Now let's do the top of this coffee lid, of the coffee pot, which is what goes on top of the glass. Alright, so we're going to do the same thing. Go back into a sketch right up here. Alright, and then we're going to select this plane that we're looking at right now. Just click on the plane, and then the next thing we're going to do is, this is kind of an intricate shape, and we can't really draw it over here because this handle is blocking our view. So let's just draw it on the left side. Revolutions don't care if you're on the left or the right. Revolutions just happen. Alright, so let's start with a line tool. Let's make a line tool from there to there. Alright, and then we're going to come over and we're going to put this about there. We're going to come up there, and then we're going to move over to give it the little lip that goes on top of the glass, right there. From there to about there. And then you're going to click on there, and then you're going to finish off the top, and then you're just going to connect it back, and you'll see the color change. And let's give it a couple fillets so that it doesn't look so rough and rugged. And just give it a couple fillets. They can be the same in this case. This is just to make it look a little bit cleaner and not so sharp edge. Alright, so we just gave it a bunch of fillets. And then now we can go into Create and start a revolution. Alright, go to Create and go to Revolve. And we can start a revolution. Alright, so we select Profile, alright, which is what we just drew. We select Axis, which is right there, and it does the revolution. And make sure that the operation is New Body. Alright, remember last time it just changed for us. Sometimes, excuse me, it tries to help you, but it actually hurts you. Just make sure it's under New Bodies. Alright, so now we have that part of it. And we can focus on changing the name, going back into the Bodies folder. Make sure you can open that up. Click on the body and change it to Glass Top. Okay, that's what we'll call it, just to keep track of what it is. You're going to right click it. You're going to go into Appearance. Alright, once you're in Appearance, you want to open the appearance up, and you want to give it the black, the gloss black. Alright, once we drop that in, it's gloss black. Now we're moving along. We're almost there. So the last revolved black plastic part is actually the heating element at the bottom of the pot. So what that is just pretty much like the donut that we made in the other exercise. Alright, so we're going to start off with a sketch. We're going to click on the plane that we're looking at, and then we're just going to draw a donut. We're just going to draw a line for our axis, because this time it won't connect in the middle. Just draw a line for your axis, hit OK, and you're going to just draw a square right over here, just like that. Alright, that's going to be the lip that's going to create a donut all the way around. And it does have like a small platform, so let's just add a little platform to it as well. Alright, that way it has a platform and it is closed on the bottom. Okay, and let's give it a fillet on the edges because that donut of the heating element does have rounded edges. We're just going to put some donuts there, or some fillets there, and then now we're going to go back up here to create. We're going to go into our revolve, and then we're going to select this profile along with that. So it's going to look like an L or like a long P connected to the middle. On the axis, we're going to select the line in the middle, which is that. And as you can see, it turned orange again. So it's trying to help us out, but it's not really helping us. So go into operation right over here and change it to new body. Alright, new body. We're going to say OK. So now we have the heating element, the heating plate. So if you go back into bodies, let's go into the folder and change the name so we know we can stay organized. Alright, and this is going to be called heating plate. Alright, and let's right click that and change the color of it so it's the gloss black as well, so everything will be matching. Just go in there, you want to grab this and you want to just bring it over and drop it in. Okay, alright, now that's in there, we're almost done with the components. Okay, the next thing that we want to do is we want to just make the glass vessel. Alright, the glass vessel. To do that, we're going to go over here and just do another revolution. Same exact thing. Click on sketch, up here, click on sketch, click on the plane. Whoops, I made a mistake. It took me to the wrong place, right? It's okay, that's fine, don't panic. Just hit the back button, and then go back into the front view that you were at before. Make sure you're in the front view. Alright, so let's go back into a sketch and let's click on this plane. That's the one we want to look and work with. Alright, so now what we want to do is draw the glass vessel. And to draw this glass vessel, we're going to have to give it some sort of thickness, right? Because the glass is thick. So it's kind of like making the donut and the cylinder at the same time. Okay, so what we're going to start out with is telling it where we want this glass vessel to start. So we probably want it to be around here. We want it to come all the way down to about here. We want it to go over the heating plate. We actually want it to go a little bit into the heating plate, like there. And then we want it to come right to the center. And we want this to come all the way up to the top. Connect that, and then we want it to connect there. Okay, so now it should be closed. You can see it changed colors. Now all we need to do is just give it some fillets to make it look like glass. Alright, let's start with that one. Let's make a big fillet there. Most glass does not have sharp edges. It's very rare that you'll ever see glass with sharp edges because of the way that it's made. Okay, so you want to hit a couple of radiuses there. Let's give it a small fillet here. You probably won't see it, but it's good to have it. Alright, let's make it a little bit smaller, maybe like that. Maybe you'll notice it, maybe you won't, but we'll see what happens. And then now let's go up here to create, and let's make a revolution out of it. Okay, so we're going to select our profile, we're going to select our axis, which is the middle of it, and then you'll see right away that it changes to red. Alright, it changed to red because under operation it wants to cut. We don't want to cut, we want to create a new body. Alright, because this is going to be glass. So we just say new body and then we hit OK. Alright, now we go back into the bodies folder and we change the name of it to glass pot. Okay, and then once you do that, we can right click it, go into appearance, and then add the glass material to it. Let's see if we can find it. Sometimes you just have to close these folders so you can see the other folders. Alright, I want it to be smooth and I want it to be clear glass, and we just drop that right in. And you'll see it change right away as soon as you do that. Alright, now we have this clear glass, and the last thing we need before we get to the more advanced parts is the steel ring that goes around this. Alright, so to make that steel ring, we're going to go up here to sketch, right up there, and we're going to select on this plane that we're working on. Alright, we're going to zoom into this part right here, and we're just going to give it a ring that goes around it. And to do that, all you need to do is start off by making a line tool and making a line in the middle where it's going to revolve around. Okay, just hit OK. That's your axis of revolution. And then you just want to make a ring that's touching. You want to make a small little rectangle, probably about the size of that. That's going to wrap around and create a ring. You'll see it happen. Maybe you can make it a little bit taller. You might need it a little bit taller so you can see it better. It's about the size of that ring on the picture. And then you hit create. You go up to create and you go to revolve. Alright? So you start out with the profile, you hit the profile, then you go to the axis, which is the axis of revolution, which is the middle line. Axis is usually always going to be in the middle. And then you see it wants to cut again. So change the cut to new body. Alright? Let's not let it play with our emotions. And then let's go back into bodies folder and change that ring name into, we'll call it metal ring. There's only one metal ring on here, so it should be easy to distinguish. Now let's change the material, the appearance for it, into something that looks like stainless steel metal. Alright, so you can just click on metal in here and you'll see a whole bunch. Let's do stainless steel because that's actually what it probably is. It's a polished stainless steel. Alright, it's nice and polished. It's going to look really reflective. Alright, so now as you can see, the majority of our copy machine is done just with revolutions. Almost everything is finished. We just need to add the detail for this part where it connects the heat source and the cables to the bottom plate, and then we just need to add 2 handles and feet to it. And after that, it's really just a couple of details. But if you click on your canvas on the little light bulb, you can turn off the image and you can see what it's starting to look like already. So we're already pretty close. Alright, so after you get to this point, you can check on the server for another video that's going to explain how to do the last couple of details. Okay, I hope you guys understand the concept of revolution, and if you don't, I'll be here to answer your questions. Make sure to look over the video. You can go step by step. There's also a button on the bottom for captions. You can do captions, so you don't have to listen. If you don't have headphones, you can just read the captions on the bottom. Okay, so good luck guys, and I'll see you in class.